Indeed, the stress of the spiritual practice soon told upon Ramkrishna's delicate body, and he returned to Kamarpukur to recover his health. His relatives and old friends saw a marked change in his nature, for the gay boy had been transformed into a contemplative young man whose vision was directed to something on a distant horizon. His mother proposed marriage, and finding in this the will of the Divine Mother, Ramakrishna consented. He even indicated where the girl was to be found, namely in the village of Jairam Bhatti, only 3 miles away. Here lived the little Sardamani, a girl of 5 who was in many respects very different from the other girls of her age. The child would pray to God to make her character as fragrant as the tuberose. Later at Dakshineshwar, she prayed to God to make her purer than the full moon, which, pure as it was, showed a few dark spots. The marriage was celebrated at Ramakrishna participating regarded the whole affair as fun or a new excitement. In a short while, he came back to Dakshineshwar and plunged again into the stormy life of religious experimentation. His mother, his newly married wife, and his relatives were forgotten. Now, however, his spiritual disciplines took a new course. He wanted to follow the time honored paths of the Hindu religion under the guidance of competent teachers, and they came to him one by one. Nobody knew from where. One was a woman under whom he practiced the disciplines of Tantra and of the Vaishnava faith and achieved the highest result in an incredibly short time. It was she who diagnosed his physical melody as the manifestation of deep spiritual emotions and described his apparent insanity as the result of an agonizing love for God. He was immediately relieved. It was she, moreover, who first declared him to be an incarnation of God, and she proved her statement before an assembly of theologians by, by scriptural evidence. Under another teacher, the monk Jatadhari Ramkrishna delved into the mysteries of Ram worship and experienced Rama's visual presence. Further, he communed with God through the divine relationships of father, mother, friend, and beloved. By an austere sannyasin named Totapuri, he was initiated into the monastic life, and in 3 days he realized his complete oneness with Brahma. The under differentiated absolute, which is the culmination of man's spiritual endeavor. Totapuri himself had to struggle for 40 years to realize this identity. Ramakrishna turned next to Christianity and Islam to practice their respective disciplines, and he attained the same result that he had attained through Hinduism. He was thereby convinced that those two were ways to the realization of God consciousness. Finally, he worshipped his own wife, who in the meantime had grown into the young woman of 19 as the manifestation of the Divine Mother of the universe, and surrendered at her feet the fruit of his past spiritual practices. After this, he left behind all his disciplines and struggles. For, according to Hindu tradition, when the normal relationship between husband and wife, which is the strongest foundation of the worldly life, has been transcended and a man sees in his wife the divine presence, he then sees God everywhere in the universe. This is the culmination of the spiritual life. Ramakrishna himself was now convinced of his divine mission on earth and came to know that through him the Divine Mother would found a new religious order comprising those who would accept the doctrine of the universal religion which he had experienced. It was further revealed to him that anyone who had prayed to God sincerely, even once as well as those who were passing through their final birth on earth, would accept him as their spiritual ideal and mold their lives according to his universal teaching. The people around him were bewildered to see this transformation of a man whom they had ridiculed only a short while ago as insane. The youngest priest had become God's devotee, the devotee and ascetic a sant, the sant a man of realization, and the man of realization a new prophet. Like full blown blossom attracting bees, Ramkrishna drew to him men and women of differing faith, intelligence, and social position. He gave generously to all from the inexhaustible storehouse of divine wisdom, and everyone felt uplifted in his presence. But the master himself was not completely satisfied. He longed for young souls, yet untouched by the world, who would renounce everything for the realization of God and the service of humanity. He was literally consumed with this longing. The talk of worldly people was tasteless to him. He often compared such people to mixture of milk and water, with the latter preponderating, and said that he had become weary of trying to prepare thick milk from the mixture. Evenings, when his anguish reached its limit, he would climb the roof of a building near the temple and cry at the top of his voice, "Come, my boys! Oh, where are you all? I cannot bear to live without you." A mother could not feel more intensely for her beloved children, a friend for his dearest friend, or a lover for her sweetheart. Shortly thereafter, the young men designed to be his monastic disciplines began to arrive, and foremost among them was Narendranath. The first meeting of Dakshineshwar between the master and Narendra was momentous. Sri Ramakrishna recognized instantaneously his future messenger Narendra, careless about his clothes and general appearance, was so unlike the mother